It's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, here today to present you my second part of my albums of 22. These are numbers 20 to 1. I will leave a link below for the first part of this little series where I talked about numbers 41 to 21. Now, these 20 albums are the ones that really stuck with me throughout the year and just reminded me of why I love metal music so much in the first place. So, kicking off this final countdown, we start with numbers 20, and that is Immolation. Acts of God Immolation from New York, and this was a Nuclear Blast release. Immolation. Death metal stalwarts. You know them. You love them. This is their 11th album in their really storied career. And to some people, they might say that Immolation tends to put out very similar records over and over again. Well, if that album that they keep putting out is this one, I can't see how that's a bad thing. Just a evil heckin' death metal album, a very groove-oriented death metal album. And like always, the riffing and the guitar work in general on an Immolation record is just on another level. Just so much to dig into. While highly aggressive, there's also some very memorable hooks on this one as well. Particularly, I would take the track Age of No Light as an example of that. Coming in at number 19, we have Duir with TSNRI. Duir comes out of Italy, and this is folk black metal with an absolutely immersive sense of atmosphere, some keen sense of melodicism as well. And this helps conjure a very yearning mood on this release. Haunting woodwinds and other folk instrumentation mesh perfectly with the very dour riffing to make this a very holistic experience. Coming in at 18, we have Abductions, Black Blood. Abduction comes out of the UK, and this one was a Candlelight Records release. And as I mentioned in my review of this one, I find this to be black metal at its core, a black metal record that focuses on pure darkness and harshness and fury and just being super nasty. But not to say this is a one-dimensional black metal record either. It definitely takes you to a lot of places and incorporates a varying array of mood and textures that makes this a very cohesive listening experience. At number 17, we have Phobophilic, Enveloping Absurdity. Phobophilic comes out of Fargo, North Dakota, and this was a Prosthetic Records release. One of my favorite releases thus far that is kind of categorized and put under that new wave of old school death metal tag that is kind of taking prominence as of late. While yes, calling back to the early roots of death metal, this one is also, I find, very forward thinking as well. Never overly simplistic, but never overly complex as well. Phobophilic really finds that perfect sweet spot. The instrumentation here and just the overall sonic approach. I find Phobophilic's music to be deliciously more harsh than some other records I've seen given this categorization. And in that way, it really stands out to me, and I'm really enjoying what this band is doing so far. At 16, we have Primordial Serpent, Kingdom of Darkness and Despair. Primordial Serpent is a one-person project out of Winnipeg, and this is very raw, lo-fi black metal, and it's that approach, that very lo-fi approach, done exceptionally well. This is, dare I say, very pure black metal being put forth. This project nails the fundamentals of this genre so well in both the sound and even like the packaging and just the aesthetics of this project. It's a deliciously grim, deserted, and hostile atmosphere overtakes this record. This thing rules and needs more attention. At 15, we have Midnartis, Sinew of Soul. Midnartis is a Texas-based project, and this is a Nattermatch Productions release. It's a very haunting folk black metal album. The instrumentation is incredibly moving, yet still very ghostly and grim. These delicately crafted folk interludes heighten the listening experience and doesn't slow it down at all. It's very heavy, but with a gracefulness attached to it as well. I find this to be a very intimate black metal experience, one with very tangible emotion to kind of dive into. At 14, we have Vital Spirit, Still as the Night, Cold as the Wind. This is a British Columbia-based project, and this one comes off a Hidden Tribe record. This is a very unique black metal record, one that really hones in on a very Western theme, aesthetic in both sound and artwork. There is an unforced epicness to be found on this one. Effortlessly delivers these huge, sweeping moments and passages, just engrossing songcraft, killer riffs, awesome vocal performances, and of course, I'm all about the anti-colonial fervor that is just so unapologetically put on full display. At 13, we have Goods for Lot, Friendship, Love, and War. Goods for Lot is an LA-based black metal project, and this came off a Night of the Pale Moon, a very surprising black metal album that I think came out of nowhere for a lot of people. This album keeps a very raw production style that maintains that very grainy kind of lo-fi sound that I think a lot of people look for in black metal releases, but while doing that, somehow this thing also feels very huge and epic. You got these fist-raising, spiraling riffs, these dueling harmonies, these pensive melodies, and an earnestness that you don't always seem to find in black metal. And sometimes it doesn't work in black metal, but it works really well here. At 12, we have Half, All That Was promise. Hath comes out of New Jersey, and this was a Willow Tip Records release. Kind of a proggy death metal album that does venture into some Blackened territory now and then. And these tracks on this record are just chiseled. Every little detail and nuance and passage and moment is so meticulously poured over. The writing here is nothing short of incredible. So much vivid detail to experience. The musicianship is very impressive, but doesn't have to throw that over you and just kind of hit you over the head with it. There's lots of restraint demonstrated, and it makes it such a joy to listen to in that way. Just a collection of very memorable, standout moments, a plethora of huge, just standout passages. So yeah, The Call of the Red Star set me aflame, spoke my fucking true name. That track is probably one of my favorites of the year. At number 11, we have Isak Trillium, Consecration of the Spiritus Flesh. Isak Trillium is a French-based black metal project. This comes off of Voidhanger Records. And Isak Trillium, the ever so prolific one-person project. This is number 7 for them, and Isak Trillium possesses a very avant-garde approach, very boundary-pushing black metal style, always evolving the sound of this project at times. Isak Trillium has put on out very like cosmic sounding black metal records in scope. They've dived into some more psychedelic territory. This one is, I would say, one of Isak Trillium's most chaotic projects and records that they've put out so far. Just a display of oppressing and nightmarish texture that's punishing from beginning to end. This is a challenge to follow along. It's not, I would say, an easy listen, but it's an enjoyable and fully rewarding one for those who want to take that task on and have something that's a bit more abrasive and challenging to experience. Now we're getting to the top 10 here. At 10, we have Triumvir Foul, Onslaught to Seraphim. Triumvir Foul is a Portland, Oregon based project, and this one came out of Vrasablatlet, I believe I pronounced that right, Records. And Triumvir Foul creates death metal that pushes the aggression and the nastiness and the ferocity to its extreme. This is pummeling, claustrophobic, grisly in its veneer, and is just an inescapable terror takes over this record. Some of the most intense and hammering death metal riffs you are going to hear this year. I personally am a very big fan of this band's past work. And so when I came into this one, what I noticed was I felt the production value was significantly higher, and But the band doesn't let that polish their very sharp, destructive edges. In fact, they use that clarity to make this record feel even more abrasive and punishing and hellish than their last ones. And that is an impressive feat to see done. At 9, we have Frostbitten by Gryma. Gryma comes out of Russia, and this was another Nattermatch Productions release. This is an absolutely haunting, atmospheric black metal release. You actually feel the cold coming off the record. There's these sweeping and massive sounding moments that somehow still have a meditative quality and somewhat of a beauty to it. With the instrumentation work, it's exceptionally pieced together. These are some of the most captivating black metal riffs I've heard all year. This thing has a intensity and a darkened feel that also hangs on to an enchanting melodic charm as well. This album is a complete stunner that's just so exceptionally crafted. At 8, we have Hiss by Wormrot. Wormrot is a Singapore-based project, and this one was an Earache Records release. And you can see the poster I have that I got from the vinyl issue of this album. Wormrot are just grindcore veterans and icons. Ask a grindcore fanatic and grindhead to offer you some recommendations for essential grindcore releases. And I wouldn't be surprised if that person suggests to you albums like Voices and Dirge by Wormrot as entry essential pivotal records for the genre. And those albums are phenomenal and clearly make sense why they are held in such high esteem by fans of grindcore. With that said, this one is better than those records. This band finds a way to push grindcore into such new directions that I just did not know were possible. Yes, this thing is violent, it's fast, it's unrelenting, it's violent in its riffs and its energy, and there's that punkish fury in the way this is performed, but at the same time there's like these melodic passages. There's some elements of post-hardcore thrown in the mix, and this doesn't take away from the very palpable aggression and fury. And yes, that is in fact a violin on a grindcore album. And it works. It works super well. Hats off to Wormrot to doing. I don't know how this record happened, and I don't know how it works so well, but goddamn is it good. Number 7, we have the Saberlight Chronicles from Fellowship. Fellowship comes out of the UK, and this was a Scarlet Records release. And oh, we got some power metal on the list here. I originally came across a track for this album, and I heard it, and I didn't really give it much attention at the time. I think my inner dialogue around here is like, oh, that's cool, probably not really my thing, and then I just kind of pushed it to the side, if I'm being honest. But then I started seeing comments about this band in various spaces that I visit from time to time, and it piqued my interest. And I was like, okay, let me give this one a go. Let me give it a listen. And after I did that, I just couldn't stop listening. And I could just not deny how much goddamn enjoyment I was getting out of this album. A lot of people seem to think that power metal, like the power metal that Fellowship puts together and releases, is cheesy. This album will not change your mind. This album, it's like, okay, so you decide you want to order Domino's. You follow me? And you pick your pizza, and then you see the extra cheese button. And you hit that twice. And when the pizza delivery person gets to your door and calls you up, and you go down and you tip the driver and you bring the pizza up, you reach into your fridge, right? And you take an entire bottle of Parmesan and you rip open the top and throw it away, and you dump the entire bottle onto the pizza. And at the same time, you've also ordered a side of mozzarella sticks. And I embrace the record because of that. I love the unapologetic cheesiness of this thing. This album is performed with so much conviction, and it's so incredibly uplifting. I have this march in my step when I'm walking around the neighborhood listening to Hearts Upon the Hill. When I hear the track Glint, single tear crawls down my eye as the vocalist continuously sings, I've always been worthy. And I'm like, yeah, with metaphorical sword in one hand and the horns in the other. I'm like, yeah, I have always been worthy. The choruses here are massive, top-notch instrumentation. The songwriting is incredible. I really love this record. Thank you, Fellowship, for clearly the best power metal album of the year. Easily in my books. Nothing really came close. There you go. Please listen to this thing. At 6, we have Kampfar, Till Clover's Takt. Kampfar comes out of Norway, and this is an indie recordings release, and Kampfar are pagan black metal veterans at this point, and they flex on us once again. This is an album to listen to as you march into battle to reclaim the frozen realms. The riffs on this thing are just a clinic. The pagan and folk leaning elements just heighten the cinematic flair. There's a nice melodic and atmospheric understanding to this album that's put on full display. Just engrossing black metal guitar work from start to finish. Massive moments and passages that are just thrown at you so effortlessly. You can't help but bask in the unbridled epicness and the demonstration of sheer power that Campfire puts forth. And the vocal performances as well are fantastic, incorporating some like multi-layered bits and even some really exciting hooks as well. At number 5, we have Sonia with Loud Arriver. And Sonia comes out of Philadelphia, and this was a Cruz del Sur music release. And this record slays. It slays so hard. It's fronted by Melissa Moore's very dynamic and demanding vocal performances. This is just a wonderful combination of very classic heavy metal songcraft and some real palpable elements of gothic rock. The feelings of lust and loneliness and searching are so tangible and just so easily felt and believed. The guitar work here just kicks so much ass. You can't deny Moore's unhinged talent that she just unapologetically displays for you. You can tell how much her past band that I'm not gonna name just fucked up in just kicking her out in the way they did. The production here is sharp. The songs are just a ton of fun. Big choruses with some surprising and unexpected turns in the songwriting as well. Please listen to this one. It rules. My favorite, just like traditional heavy metal album that came out this year. At 4, we have Thy Listed Heart, Pilgrims on the Path of No Return. Thy Listless Heart comes out of the UK, and so the Hammerheart Productions release. And if you saw my review of this record, you know how much I really nerded out about this one. And I still am so high on it. This is just a powerful, moving, desperate doom album. Evocative, haunting, grandiose vocal performances with very crushing, mournful riffs. It's what I want from doom metal. And some of the gentler, kind of folksier passages really tie this together and make it feel like you are going on a journey with this project. This is an album that can remain heavy and also incorporate just a sheer amount of earnestness and heartfelt emotion. Coming in at 3, we have Heaving Earth with Darkness of God. Heaving Earth is a Czechia-based project, and this came off of Lava Dome Productions. And if somehow there is a God that exists, they don't want to listen to this one. This is dissonant, ferocious, unforgiving death metal, and it's a record that I don't think received nearly as much attention as it got and it deserved. This one went incredibly under the radar for some reason, and I don't know how. With a name taken from a Morbid Angel track, you know going into this that this is a record that really enjoys and 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 shines and bask in just being all about that gruesome death metal aggression and brutality. But at the same time, there's a lot of originality in the writing here. The riffs are have an experimental edge without really ever getting too proggy. But you're gonna hear things on this that are very different, that do something that you don't necessarily hear that often in contemporary death metal. This is a dark, nasty album for fans of death metal to really put their teeth into. At 2, we have Convent. Call Down the Sun. Convent comes out of Copenhagen, Denmark. This is a Napalm Records release. And woof. This is a Death Doom release that really leans into the death part of that phrase. This is just a crushing experience that reinvents the word crushing in my book. The vocals from Rikke Emil List, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, I gave my best effort. It's just full of these shattering, jagged edges. They come across as very deep, guttural, grainy, and bludgeoning. The riffs from Sarah Norgård are packed with a tone that can shatter boulders. It's monstrous, brooding doom riffs that also contain a bunch of intricacy and subtle details that make it a real joy to digest and repeat listen and kind of rediscover new little elements to it. The band creates this hostile, dreadful atmosphere, and they do it so well. And while leaning into these destructive textures, there are also some really fantastic hooks on this one as well. I would say listen to the track Pipe Dreams for a good example of that. And now we come to my favorite album of the year, number 1. And that honor goes to Otto Noesis with Moon of Foul Magics. Otto Noesis comes out of Toronto, and where did this project come from? Yes. This is ambitious, fierce, just absolutely wild black metal. It's a black metal release that also incorporates some really exciting elements of thrash metal as well. There is a melodicism to this one that at times makes the album feel intimidatingly massive. When you listen to these tracks, it seamlessly and effortlessly lurks and explores and takes you to very unexpected passages and movements. You never know what to expect on this record. It also incorporates some like jazzy bits, some more folksy interludes that are incorporated so damn well. It just kind of completes the story that Adonoesis is putting forward. There's this excellent, thoroughly impressive technicality that only complements the razor sharp songwriting. It doesn't take away from it at all. The solos here are unbelievable and so exciting to experience. The riffs just pulverize. This thing is evil, it's inventive, it's just so intense, it's cold, it's dark, it's shrouded in mystery. This record is everything I want in a black metal record in 2022. Hell yeah. This record was a challenge to narrow down, but putting this one at number 1 was so easy. Easily my favorite album of the year. I love this record. Thank you, Adonoesis. And that concludes my end of year list, my top 41 albums of the year. I had so much fun putting this together. Thank you for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like button. It really helps get this out there. If you enjoy what I do and want to be notified of my next work and want to support the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. I have a Twitter you can follow. The link to that is in the bio of this YouTube channel. If you've heard any of these records, have any comments, just want to talk about metal, please comment below. I love reading those. Thank you to everyone who has supported this channel so far. It's very humbling to me. Keep it metal. My name is Maddie, aka Beaver Mosh, and I'm signing off.